Good morning, folks. Welcome to this morning's Soul Man Surgery. We have got a very lovely special guest here today in the form of Nicola Henderson from Nicola Henderson Coaching. Now, I hope that I'm saying that right. She'll probably be backstage saying, that's not what I'm called. But she is a transformational life coach. And she's going to be on talking today about all things transformational. So, I'm just going to pull Nick up right now. Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Did I say that right, first of all?
Well, you got the name right, but it's Coaching by Nick.
All right, okay. Coaching by Nick, yeah.
I'll let you off.
And that is running across the bottom of the screen right now. So you guys will be able to check out Nicola's website. You'll be able to check out everything that she does. Just by clicking on our website, www.coachingbynick.com. Is that right?
That's perfect.
Phew. So, Kenny's on there already saying, hello, Nick.
Oh, hi, Kenny.
So say hello to Kenny. There you go. So, Nicola, I have got 11 icebreaker questions for you.
Oh, God, okay.
These icebreaker questions, we always use them when we're first starting with any new guest, because it's just nice to see or for you to break the ice a little bit. So, okay. Are you ready?
Perfect. I'm ready, yep.
Cue the dramatic music in the background, all right? So when you're not working, Nicola, what do you do in your spare time?
Well, options are limited, as you know, at the minute, but probably either reading a book, yoga, or like walking in the park.
Brilliant.
That's probably the main ones at the minute.
3 good things to do, though. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And what are you currently reading?
Oh, I've always got loads of books on the go. So I'm rereading A New Earth, because that's one of my favorites. So I reread that every like 6 months or so. I'm reading a book on yin yoga because I'm training on that on the side. So I'm trying to learn all the technical stuff. And I started a juicing book yesterday.
A juicing book?
A juicing book. I've tried this juice diet, so I'm kind of interested in that as well. So I've always got a few on the go. That's
great. I'm reading a book someone recommended, and it's not normally the type of book that I would read, but I'm reading it anyway, and it's the last law of attraction book you'll ever need to read. You read it?
No, actually. It sounds like something I'd like, though.
It's really, really good, because usually, I read The Secret years ago, but usually I don't really read law of attraction books because they're all kind of the same.
Yeah, once you get the idea, they're similar, aren't they?
Yeah, but it's a really good read. I'm really quite impressed with it, so have a wee go at that if you want. Next one is, what's the first concert that you ever attended?
Oh, God. I actually think I was never into concerts and stuff like that as a young person. So it was probably older than most people, but I think it was Pink in the SECC. And that was pretty incredible. So yeah, that was a pretty special one.
I think if you've been to see Pink, nothing else really compares, does it?
Yeah, and that's my favorite one, maybe partly because it was maybe the first big one and because she was so amazing as well.
Amazing. Mine's would definitely be Pink as well, but I went to see Michael Jackson when I was 9.
Oh, I'm jealous.
And that was just phenomenal. It was just so good. But I think I was just in awe of Michael Jackson at that time anyway, weren't we all?
Yeah, definitely.
Next one is, what is your favourite word?
Oh.
Say Dinny, just to annoy Kenny.
I didn't know. Probably amazing. I say amazing a lot.
Amazing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. That's a good word. Next one is, what was your first job?
Oh, I actually served ice cream, the scoop ice cream that you have to roll up out of a little hatch in Derry when I was like 14.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Was it hard work?
It was. I was getting paid like 80p a pound an hour back in the day, which seems ridiculous now when you look back, but it was like a friend of a friend type job, so you have to do them. And it was great.
I can imagine that would be pretty horrible in the winter, though. Cold hands.
Yeah, I can't remember that. I think I only remember the good parts about it.
Yeah, that's good, though. Yeah. Next one is what's one thing you're excited about for 2021?
Oh, so much stuff. I think I feel like I'm in an education phase where I've got all this time to absorb all this information, so that I feel like the more I can learn, the better. So I'm trying to do that on the side of obviously doing the job as well. But yeah, I'm really excited about what I'm going to learn.
Amazing. I think certainly COVID-19 has just thrown people into learning, hasn't it?
Yeah.
It's amazing.
We're studying like never before, but it's a good thing, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been doing lots of learning, lots of training as well, and my head's burst with it, but it's good.
Yeah, it's like a good excitement, isn't it?
Yeah. It's the reading. I hate reading textbooks. So it's the whole referencing and reading, and that's the bit that I hate. I'm one of these people where I like to absorb information visually rather than reading through text.
You know what's a good idea though, if you're reading a book, keep a blank page beside you and then scribble notes as you're going. Or I like to highlight books and put loads of wee sticky notes in them. So then you can visualize the page then when you're thinking about it.
That's a great tip. I'm just going to write that down. Sorry. Thanks for that, Nicola.
Do you know something that weirdly I learned the other day? That if you write with a blue pen, you're more likely to remember it than a black pen.
Yeah, and I knew this as well.
I didn't know that until recently.
Yeah. Equally as well, you can get blue overlays to put across books that helps you read more effectively.
It must be something similar, but
yeah.
I'll need to try that one out.
It's interesting, yeah. Next one is, what is your most used emoji?
Oh, probably the wee hands that do this.
The yay! That one. Great. If you could win an Olympic medal for any sport, real or fake, what would that be?
Oh God, that's a hard one. Didn't Kenny say something like riding unicorns or something for this one?
I don't know, did he?
I remember that was like the most obscure thing. He'll be laughing now, probably.
I don't remember.
Let's say a real one would be show jumping, because I used to do that when I was younger, so that could have happened maybe in another life.
Oh, show jumping, that's cool. Yeah, dangerous as well, but pretty cool. Yeah.
Dangerous but cool.
Yeah. What is your hidden talent?
Oh, I don't know if I have a hidden talent. I would like to be able to sing, but I really can't. So I would like that to be a hidden talent. Maybe I used to be a reasonable dancer, let's say, when I was younger.
That's great, yeah. I was speaking to a lady the other day and she said her hidden talent was that she can blow air out her eyeballs.
What? Is that even possible?
If she holds her nose like this, she can blow air out the little holes in her eyes, and I'm thinking
that's kind of scary.
Yeah, I'm interested to see if anybody's watching this. Can you blow hair out your eyeballs? Can you blow air out your eyeballs? Might be. I've
never heard that before.
Yeah, it's a strange one. Next one is, if someone could play you in a movie of your life, who would you want it to be?
Oh, probably someone like Reese Witherspoon.
Good choice.
Down to earth, likable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like her.
Brilliant. And next one is, who or what was your biggest teacher in life?
Oh, do you know what? Probably the combined experience of travel. because I would say that was the thing that opened my eyes and taught me so much that I didn't know. So yeah, if that's an answer, maybe, I'm not sure.
Yeah. And is that your travel around the world, like experiencing different cultures and different people? And
yeah, just opening your eyes to what's out there and bigger than what your life is as you know it in the current form.
Yeah,
definitely.
I think that's such a huge, big thing, though, is people get so caught up in this tiny little bubble that they forget about the larger experience of life.
Yeah, there's so much out there to be seen.
Yeah. So that's your icebreaker questions done.
Oh, I'm glad.
It does break the ice, though, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah. So transformational coaching is what you do, Nicola. And first of all, I thought it would be really nice to speak about your story and what led you to becoming a transformational coach.
Well, I think it's been going on for a few years. You know how I feel like everything's an evolution. So you don't wake up and one day you're completely changed. Everybody's on their own journey. So I think it would have been maybe 2-3 years ago when I started to think I can't keep doing this job forever. I was working in a fashion environment, in a corporate environment. So it was high stress, high pressure, sales, targets, all the usual kind of stuff. But I was having to travel with work maybe 2-3 days a week. So that was exhausting in itself. And I just felt like, oh my God, can I do this forever? And my energy levels are quite good and I was able to do it physically, but mentally it was quite draining, emotionally quite draining. So I always ended up back in the office on a Friday and I felt like I was like a shell of my former self because by a Friday, I was just a mess. I was exhausted. I was emotional. I was just tired from all that pressure and stress through the week. So it was starting to take its toll, basically. And then I had been married at that point. And I think when the relationship's not quite right for whatever reason, that on top of the career thing was just like a boiling pot, basically. So it was just boiling over and boiling over. And then something really weird happened so it would have been July 2018. Well, it would have been June actually that I thought of it, but it was very last minute. And I just kind of thought, I need to go away somewhere very far on my own. And it was funny because one of the prerequisites that I gave myself was it has to be far away. Like I didn't want to go to like Spain or France or somewhere. I wanted to be literally on the other side of the world. Mm-hmm. And when I look back now, I think I was just trying to escape life as it was in that current moment. So I booked a ticket for Bali for like 2.5 weeks on my own and just went to this women's only like retreat that was just all about relaxing. Like your biggest decision in the day was what kind of massage to have, what kind of breakfast to have. So there was no pressure. It was just, there was people around to serve you all the time. And it really was quite amazing.
Sounds great.
It was brilliant. So for the first couple of days, everybody's settling in and it was mainly solo travelers. So it was like maybe 12 to 14 people maybe there. And then it was funny. So after about like 3 or 4 days, you just kind of entered this like silence phase where everybody was almost just like floating around and people were socializing and talking, but it was more about talking to yourself. But it was weird because nobody said that. It was just kind of what happened naturally after all the excitement and the buzz of getting there. And then it was over probably in the middle of that week, I was like, God, I feel so different, quite peaceful, calm, relaxed. And I just felt like more of the old me that I had ever felt before, like in recent years. So I think that was definitely the start because I hadn't felt that for maybe 5 years. I was in fashion and that industry for like 15 years. So it had been a long time where you're completely out of it, completely detached, not thinking about anything else. Because I'd never traveled on my own until that point as well. And it's so rewarding because it's so free and you don't have to think about anybody else. You can literally do whatever you like. And that was something that I think everybody should experience at least once, because that was the thing that got me back in touch with what I really wanted. And I wrote lots of things randomly as they came to me that week in a little journal. And funny enough, now when I read it back, it's all things about coaching, wanting to help people, putting something good back into the world, helping people transform. But it didn't all make sense. It was all kind of scribbles back then. But now when I read it back, it is what I'm doing now, which all kind of unfolded. So I think it's what you want to do is embedded in your subconscious, but it's trying to let it be free and let it be seen. And because we busy our minds, don't we, so much with our day-to-day life that we can't really hear that little inner voice. So I suppose that's what it was, getting to know that inner voice and then coming back and going, okay, I'm gonna make a change. So when I came back, I was different, but my life obviously wasn't. So I was still in the relationship at that point. I was still in the job, financial constraints and all that. I couldn't just change life overnight, but I made the small changes. So I made time for myself to get back to yoga, because I'd been doing it before, but just let work take over. And when you're doing 12-hour days, you can't really fit these kind of things in. So I made a point of making the time for myself. And then again, it's just like an evolution. So again, just more and more you get in touch with yourself, because you're finding that peace and quiet and stillness. Because people used to say to me, what do you like so much about the yoga? And I was like, just the nothing. You're doing nothing and you're thinking about nothing other than what you're doing at that very second. And when you're living in that moment, little nuggets of information kind of come to your mind. But it's really yourself. You're telling yourself the story that you want to. So yeah, so that was the big change. That was the moment when I came back that I was like, okay, I can choose to make small differences now and then just build upon them, like stacking like Post-its. I always imagine like, right, I'll do this and then I'll do another one and I'll do another one. And before you know it, your life will be exactly what you want through all the little things.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it was just that really. I just started to stack it. And when you're doing that, you end up living more true to your intention and your purpose than you probably realize, because then naturally I decided that relationship wasn't a good one and I ended that and I moved on. And then just naturally you just make decisions that are good for you because you're listening to yourself. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I think see all of that, Nicola, it's so inspiring, because there's so many people stuck.
Mm-hmm.
You actually made that space for you to move out of that.
Yeah.
And I think that's something a lot of people don't do. You know, they spend their whole lives in, you know, it may not be a relationship, it could be a job, it could be a friendship, you know, that friend that drags you down all the time.
Yeah.
You know, that the car that you've been driving for the last 10 years that you really need to change, or whatever it may be. But without making change then, or giving yourself space to make change, how on earth are you able to do it?
Yeah, because a lot of the people I would speak to say, but I don't know what I want to do, or I don't know how to make the change. But really, you will know somewhere deep inside. It's just buried so far down that you can't see it. Mm-hmm. So just what you said there is perfect. That space for yourself to find out, that's the first step. So even if it's just starting with a meditation or even just reading a book for 15 minutes, because people will say, where do you start? With the very easy things. Take time in the bath, like lock the door, keep the kids out, whatever the issue might be, just for 10, 15 minutes, and just close your eyes and be silent and just see what comes up. And I think that people let the noise get in the way. Oh, but the kids need fed, I need to do this, I need to take the dog out. And there will always be all those things, and they're different for everybody. But you can find a little 10 minutes somewhere if you want to, just to listen to yourself. And it might surprise you what comes up. That's the beauty of it, because you're not aware of it yet.
Yeah. It's interesting because my whole life, people have always said to me, Stephen, you are one of the most social people that we know, but equally you're very isolated as well. So yeah. I always make sure that I spend a lot of time on my own.
Yeah.
You know, we had that, you were saying there that you were all over the place, flying and whatever. I used to fly twice a week with my job. So I would Monday morning, Friday morning, fly down to Derby.
Yeah.
We used to call it the red eye flight. We would fly down, and the first thing that I'd done when we got out of the airport, whilst we were waiting on our taxi to the head office, is I would go over to the grass, take my socks and shoes off, and just sit. And everybody always used to say, "This guy bonkers."
But it's a proven technique, isn't it, for grounding yourself?
Yeah. I was just allowing myself that space away from everybody, and I didn't want to stand and talk about shite. I had to go and remove myself from that. So I suppose it doesn't have to be a trip to Bali, does it?
No, that's the extreme, obviously. But I think I was building that up for so many years that it had to be something quite dramatic. So the only way I can describe it is like a little voice in my head was screaming at me, you have to do it, you have to go. And it's funny because it wasn't an option. I didn't really have the conversation of should I go, should I not? I absolutely knew that that's what I had to do. It was non-negotiable. And that is the thing that woke me up to the instinct. That feeling that you've got in your gut when you should do something, but most of the time we ignore it and we just go, oh, I'm not sure. If you listen to that more, which I've learned to do, and it's a practice, it's amazing what it knows. It knows so much. And then you think, oh, that's strange. I should have done that 6 months ago when that opportunity came up. But you have to be on the lookout for them, because if you're not, they'll just pass you by, obviously. So it's learning to be awake to those opportunities that are presented to you.
Yeah, follow your gut. It always knows the way. That's what I say to people. If your gut instinct is screaming at you, if I meet someone and my gut's going, wah! And I don't pay attention to that, I always, always, always suffer long term, because that person's not meant to be in my energy. They're just not right for me. Same with a situation or a place. Or have you ever walked into a place, Nicola, where you walk in and you're just like, oh, I don't like the feeling in here?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or you're on a night out and you walk into a pub and you're like, oh, I don't like the feeling in here, I need to go.
Yeah. It's strange, isn't it? But because your logical brain tries to say, oh, but you're just being silly, blah, 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 and you talk yourself out of listening to your gut. But it's amazing the difference when you start to trust your gut, and that's what I've been trying to do. And it's not easy, obviously, because it doesn't come naturally to us because our logical brains are so dominant. But if you try to do that just a little bit more, I think the difference for everybody would be amazing. It's like the people, like what you've said, the people in your life, the circumstances that you allow yourself to get to, all of that, everything would be different, wouldn't it, if you listen to your gut a wee bit more?
Definitely. I think that for me, the last 5 years, I have really listened to my gut instinct with everything that I've done. And it's not, people haven't liked all the decisions that I've made. But they've been the right decisions. And I think that's the key, isn't it?
Yeah. Because people say it without really realizing. They say things like, oh, I just had a feeling. But they're not really identifying, that's my gut instinct, I need to follow it. But we kind of say it and we brush it off just as fast. Mm-hmm. So everybody has it. It's just how well in tune, I suppose, you are with it. Because I would say to people sometimes, if you're struggling with a decision, don't try to make one. Just sit with it and then just see what comes up. And just kind of pause, because if you're feeling pressured into making a decision, then you really shouldn't make one at that point. You should make one when you're nice and calm and relaxed.
Yeah, it's like that whole thing. Sleep on it.
But we're so knowledgeable in these little things that we say, but we don't really listen to the words almost.
Yeah. So many people make big decisions and don't actually take the time to really think about it, I suppose. Mm-hmm. What you're saying is so true to, I think, many people watching this. Please don't, as a result, they'll go and book tickets to Bali and leave their husbands.
Or do.
Or do, yeah, absolutely. Do what feels right and pay attention to your gut instinct.
Yeah, it's just listening to what's right for you, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's incredibly inspiring, though, Nicola, to have the guts to be able to give yourself that space and that freedom to think, and then in turn, it's gave you a happier life, hasn't it?
Oh my God. I feel like a completely different person now to what I was maybe 2-3 years ago, just because I've lifted myself out of the environment I wasn't supposed to be in. So, in that feeling, like I used to get nauseous and feeling sick and that anxious, gut wrenching, horrific feeling on a Sunday night because I had to go to work on the Monday. That's not okay. That's not normal. Nobody should have to live like that, where you're feeling sick about your work, when you're feeling nauseous about going in, what's going to happen, is it going to be a horrible week? And a lot of the time it was, but you have the choice to get out of it. And I think that's the thing that people need to realize. And it might not be right away, but you can start to just journal, make notes. What would you like to do? Because one of the main things that I would tell people is, what are you really happy when you're doing? What makes you feel like alive? One of the great questions that we would ask a client is, when was the last moment that you felt truly alive? Like for you, for example, what would you think?
Yesterday, I please don't laugh when I tell you this. Yesterday, I stripped down to my pants and I lay in the snow in the back garden.
No way! That sounds amazing.
There's a visual for you. But you know that
simple things, isn't it? Definitely. Like I was in the park yesterday and there's so many kids and everything playing, and it looked like everybody had came out and was happy to be alive, and the park was buzzing. And while it was busy and I was conscious of the distancing and all that too, but on the whole, I was thinking, isn't this amazing? Look at all these people out here being happy and playing with their kids, and kids were having a ball. And I thought, isn't that just one of these little moments that we can look back and say that was a good day?
Yeah, I think COVID, it certainly transformed everybody's way of thinking, hasn't it?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
What's your view on the whole COVID-19 thing? I don't want to go down the rabbit hole of COVID, but I really have found COVID-19 to be the most transformational year ever.
Mm-hmm. For me, I see it as opportunity. That's all that it is. But I think when people say, how do you deal with it? The number one thing I think is acceptance. So see, the minute that you can just accept, this is a situation, I have no control over it. And what I personally do, other than obviously abide by the rules and all that, but you're not directly responsible for fixing it. Therefore, just accept it and go with it, and just lend yourself to the fact that, yeah, this is going to be my life now for a while. So what can I do with that time? So it's been a gift of accepting it, enjoy the time that you've got, and think, how can you use this to your advantage? So for me, that's all been growth, learning more, reading books, personal development. Like I just love all this stuff. So I'm trying to take it as much in as possible, because in the future world, I won't have as much time as I have right now to do all that. So yeah, I'm just trying to embrace it, really.
It's funny, we were speaking about this the other day, saying that I guarantee you in 1 year's time, people will be saying, oh, send me back to lockdown.
Funny enough, we said that yesterday, yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And as human beings,
there's an element of it that's quite nice to be cozy and insular and all these things, and work on yourself while the world is crazy out there. You can kind of hide from it in your own little bubble. There's something quite nice and safe about that, I think.
Yeah. And we were also speaking as well, for many people, you know, there's the other side of that, where this isn't a safe time for them because they are at home, you know. So there's many people that are going through difficult times at home because their home's not their safe place.
Yeah.
And I suppose what you've said there today, it's really got me thinking about that, and how they could give themselves that space to think very differently around the situation that they might find themselves in.
Yeah, because it's funny that if you're thinking about it and you want to improve your well-being, the first thing to know is well-being is all on the inside. So the world can be going to hell, the world can be chaos outside, and you still can be okay on the inside. So I think once that realization sets in, that you can have a calm mind in a crazy world, then you're like, oh, I can have control of myself and what I'm thinking and how I'm acting and what I'm putting out there. And that changes everything then, really, because you realize that you're the master of your own destiny, if you like. What you feel is really, you can manifest that yourself.
Yeah. What's your thoughts on people who, lots of people in this world have almost like a codependency on everybody else. People are so focused on looking for external solutions for internal problems.
Yeah.
It's like they're looking for that coach that can transform their life, or they're looking for that personal trainer that can make them slim, or that person that can give them £1,000 in the bank within a week. So what's your thoughts on that?
I think really the first thing is that no one, like, if I was working with a client, I'll say to them that the difference isn't going to come from me, it's going to come from them. I'm just the facilitator, really. I'm just there to kind of help you along the way. But I think the first thing is just to realize it really is you. So if you're wanting to change, then you have to take responsibility for your own well-being and kind of leave everybody else like at the door almost, because you can block them off. You can block off the negativity and the toxic environments and the toxic relationships, and you can focus on what makes you feel good. There's a really easy thing that you can do actually, and if you think, what makes me feel good every day, for example. So for me, it would be, say, do half an hour of yoga, do some breath work, some meditation, and read a book, and that's probably it. So all I try to do every day is do those things, and then you find that everything else looks after itself anyway. So you don't have to think, how am I going to be better tomorrow? You just think, how am I going to be the best that I can be today? And it could just be dead easy things, making a curry from scratch, or just playing with the kids, or doing something grounding, but you have to be present in the moment that you're doing it. Because when it's all about alignment, isn't it? And when you get yourself in line with the things that make you feel good, you're going to naturally feel better the more that you do it. Because my mentor actually said to me, do more of the things that you like and just do less of the stuff that you don't like and the stuff that doesn't work. And it sounds so simple, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But it is that simple.
I think it is so simple. People overthink that though, don't they?
Yeah. But it's because probably they're putting too much expectation on themselves. So you think, I want to start cycling, for example. You don't have to be that good at it. You don't have to be actually any good at it, but just get your bike out and go for 10 minutes. Or you want to start to run, but just start out a fast walk and then just see how it develops. But there's all this pressure, isn't there, on society sometimes to think, if I'm going to do something, I have to be really good at it. And I've been guilty of that in the past as well. But who's that show for, really? Because the people that you think are looking at you really aren't. So the only person that you're putting the expectations on is yourself. It just seems kind of silly, isn't it? Doesn't it, when you think about it? So just start small, start with the easy things, and you'll find that it's like the snowball effect. Everything will just start to naturally happen. But a lot of the time people will just let fear get in the way. So they're too afraid to even take that little first step, because where will it lead? And the unknown is quite difficult for some people, but it's just about getting in the flow, really, and then staying there.
Yeah. I think that's a huge, big learning that many people should take away from this today, is that we can make massive changes by tiny little things.
Yeah.
I was speaking to Kenny yesterday and saying that about 10 days ago, maybe about 2 weeks actually, I decided that enough was enough. Wanted to lose weight, wanted to get back to the weight that I was, because I'd gained a bit of weight.
Yeah.
And it really started by just doing really small things, rather than like, right, that's it. I am having 600 calories a day and I'm going to expel 5,000 calories a day. It was really about changing the small things. So, instead of eating snacking, I just changed that to having my 3 meals a day.
Yeah.
Walking that little bit further with the dog in the morning and not vlogging. So I stopped vlogging in the morning, because I used to vlog every morning with the dog.
Okay.
I'm going to actually use this time to be in my own space.
Yeah.
So lots of little changes, I think, make a big change, because now 2 weeks later, I'm actually feeling like, right, okay, so I want to do more, and I want to do more of this. And
it changes your mindset, doesn't it? Because people sometimes wrongly say you need more positive thoughts, but you don't really need more positive thoughts. You need to develop a positive mindset, which is completely different. But your positive mindset will come naturally. You don't have to enforce it. It's like New Year's resolutions. I never do them because I never keep them, and there's no point really. But I'll set an intention to do something, and it could be catch up with more friends. So pick a friend every couple of days or every day or whatever, and phone them, and don't text them. Actually, phone them. But the feeling that you get when you do that, then it inspires you to call the next one and call the next one, and it's a little tiny thing. But again, it's a snowball effect. The better that you feel about yourself and you're putting yourself out there, then hopefully it'll go from there and it'll grow.
I think that's quite a good pickup, actually, the whole calling people. How many of us just text these days? Now, I am, if you know me and I'm your friend, you'll know this, that I am the worst person in the world for picking up the phone and phoning you. And people will be like, hello?
Have you
I just wanted to see how you are. And they're like, why are you phoning me? Why could you not just pop it in a message? What?
Just not as personal, is it?
Yeah.
We're all guilty of it, though. We all do it. But I think it's that intention again to say, I'm going to connect with someone like physically as much as possible, Zoom or a phone call, at least once a week. Like everybody could be able to fit that in. And it's a good way to do it as well. Someone you haven't spoken to in ages, because that's the person you're most likely to maybe put off. So you're like, oh, I haven't spoken to them in a while, and it might be a wee bit weird. 9 times out of 10, it's never weird. And that person will be like, oh, wow, thanks for phoning.
Yeah, and most of the time as well, they'll say, I really needed to speak to you today.
Yeah. And if you listen to your gut, back to that again, it might tell you who to contact. You ever get that weird feeling that you need to speak to someone, or they pop into your head for no apparent reason?
3 people circulate in my mind today, so they're going to be called at some point today. Hello, how are you?
Yeah, I definitely believe that, though.
Yeah.
I believe that there's definitely some connection there. Or do you get that when you're thinking about someone and then your phone beeps and it's them?
Yeah.
And you think, oh, that's a weird coincidence. But what if it's not? What if you're all connected and we just have to work out how?
Yeah. Certainly in my world, that happens an awful lot. Thinking about something and then it happens, or someone comes, or it's crazy. Like yesterday, I was sitting thinking, I wonder where that parcel is. 10 minutes later, parcel was there.
You manifested it.
Yeah, absolutely. And you'd spoke about resolutions there as well, and it's interesting because so many people, at this point, maybe 6 weeks into the new year, they've had New Year's resolutions. I would guess that 99% of the people who made a resolution they fell short on that. And it's interesting because a resolution, the word resolution, it means to resolve things that you've not done. So that's really interesting that you set intentions rather than try to resolve. So for me, it's that you're very much living in the present, isn't it?
Yeah. And the book, The Power of Now, I think it's Eckhart Tolle wrote that one. That's a really powerful one to bring you back to the current day, because he talks about what's in your past, obviously, is in your past, can't be changed. Anything in your future, you're just making it up. It's just you're imagining it. And that's not real either until you get there. And when you get there, it will also be the now. So all you really have for certain right now is the present moment. So it's really just trying to live in that moment. And I think that's the whole principle of Zen and Satori and all these things. That's really all about living in the moment, isn't it?
Yeah.
It all comes back to the same thing.
That's really it. The only time we really have any kind of power is now. He does speak about that in the book as well, doesn't he?
Yeah.
That is the only time that we ever have power. The future is only a prediction based on our current decisions. So
because you can set your intention positively to where you want to go to, but then enjoy the process of getting there. Because probably a few years ago, I would have been like, right, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, and then focus so much on that you forget all of your current time. So you'd be like, oh, I can't wait till the weekend. I can't wait till the end of the month. I can't wait till COVID's over. I can't wait to all these things. But what can you enjoy today? And it could be just a phone call or bake your 100th banana bread or whatever it might be. There's always moments to find the joy, but you have to look for them.
Yeah, most definitely. And I know we've not really spoke about all of the stuff that you do, Nick, but I think that what we spoke about today has been so inspiring, really, really inspiring for a lot of people. We've had the comments going crazy, so I'm going to jump over to the comments just to show you some of what people have been saying. So James is watching. He's morning, Nicola. And Stephen. Thanks, James. Brendan is saying, so incredibly inspiring. We can all make some tiny changes that can change our lives.
Hi, Brendan. That's my fiance.
Oh, is it? Oh, brilliant. And it's so true, isn't it?
Yeah.
Small changes create big things. There you go. Kelly's saying that the small incremental changes. What else are you saying, guys? Do a job you love. It doesn't feel like work.
That's love the secret, job. Yeah.
Kelly works with us, so of course she loves her job. Claire, yes, that makes sense. Thinking too much about what others think about you.
Yeah.
Joanne is saying, I did the exact same thing back in 2017. I went to Shetland for a few days. I listened to my gut and went with it. It was one of the best things I did. It put a lot of things into perspective.
Oh, that's brilliant, Joanne. Shetland's such a beautiful place as well. Perfect for that kind of thing, isn't it?
Hopefully you can get like 30-degree sun and servants that are... I'm not sure if Shetland has such a place, but there you go. Yeah. Claire, focus on what makes you happy.
Yeah.
So anybody got any questions for Nicola whilst we're sitting here? Because the questioning part is important. You know, anything that you want to know about Nicola's journey, Nicola's work, what she does. So Nicola, what are your 3 tips to someone who would want to transform their life?
The first thing would be the power to know that you can, because I thought for so long that I couldn't because I felt trapped in the life, I suppose, that I had created at the time. But when you break out of that, you realize, oh my God, I had that power the whole time. I just didn't realize it. So I think that's the first thing, the acknowledgement that you can change it. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Will give you the hope then to move forward. That's a big one.
A lot of people think that they're just so stuck and helpless.
Don't they? Yeah, but that's the beauty of it. You're never stuck. You're only as stuck as you think you are. And I know James was talking about this recently, but the power of your thoughts and everything, it's such a powerful thing that when you realize and when you get over that and you realize your thoughts are not who you are, your thoughts are just your thoughts, and you can just and choose to engage with them, which I did for over a decade, and just live your life according to your thoughts, or break free and listen to that inner you, which is the true you, and that's who you really are. I suppose it's getting in touch with your inner self and how to hear that little voice that's screaming through you, but it just can't get through the noise.
Yeah.
That's the danger.
And if someone was coming to see you, Nicola, and the beautiful thing about now is that, you know, you can have consultations with people all over the world. It's great. It's so good. I think it's really helped lots of coaches, you know. I was speaking to a lady yesterday who lives in Brisbane in Australia, and we'd done a Zoom call, and it was just brilliant. It was so good. She was like, let me see snow. I've never seen snow.
Funny, I had someone actually contact me from Australia yesterday as well.
Oh, wow.
I didn't think this through because of the time difference. I'll be up in the middle of the night. But it's funny because you've got people, like you say, the world is open now. And there's so many online communities that are supportive that you can join if you're feeling a bit stuck. And there's so much support there now, probably because of COVID than ever before, which is a wonderful thing, isn't it?
It is. It really is. It's not. You're not in person with people, but still, you're still able to do these things. So, back to my thinking there, if someone had came to you for coaching and they were absolutely terrified of making change and thinking, I don't have the power to do this, you're telling me that that I have the power to know that I can. Yeah. But inside my head, I'm screaming, thinking, "Oh my God, how can I do this?"
Yeah.
What would be your advice to that person?
I think the next thing to do after you have the power is just to get yourself quiet and just allow yourself not to think about how you're going to break it, but just to sit with that quiet. So that might be like me jumping a plane and go to the other side of the world. It might be like Joanne, go to Shetland, or it could be just sitting in your bath. It could just be allowing yourself that quiet time, because the answer is within all of us. It's just a matter of finding your own way to find out what that is telling you. Because there'll be some little niggle. And it's funny because a few people told me really what I would end up doing before I had accepted or even thought that it was a possibility. Like a few of the people I spoke to in Bali were like, "Oh, I thought you were a teacher," or "I thought you were a coach," and there was loads of these little things. And I was like, that's weird. Do I give off that kind of vibe? I was thinking that there's no way in hell I'm ever going to do anything like that. So it was weird now to look back and think strangers can see things in you sometimes that others that are very close to you can't, because it's all contaminated almost, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But when you ask strangers for advice or you listen to what they're saying, sometimes that's really insightful because they can see a you that no one else can.
Everything is energy, though. We were speaking about this last week. We've got John who comes on a Thursday who John deals with the aura and energy field. And he's saying, that even though we might not be thinking about something with our conscious mind, our subconscious mind is going boom, 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 boom. It's throwing it out there to the universe.
Yeah.
To our immediate space 9 feet around us. So that makes a lot of sense to what John was saying last week as well. So it's fascinating.
So I think that's the third thing, I think. So from what your question would be, just to be open. And it sounds really simple, but just be open to the possibilities that are around you. But you'll find strange things will happen because when you're open, they will come to you in forms that you didn't really think of, or you didn't understand, or you wouldn't have recognized before. But the possibilities are there for all of us all the time. It's just really when your eyes are open to see them, and if you want them, then that's the part that it'll change. So you almost don't have to. You have to be ready for the change, but you don't have to force it. I think that's the thing. You just have to be ready, and it will naturally happen when it's supposed to for you. But you need that moment of, okay, I can do this. And that's just the starting point. I think if you remove all the pressure, that's important.
Yeah. It's really interesting because many people, when they get to that point, just be open, they start to see signs, don't they?
Yeah.
It's like the universe, the world, I suppose, opens up and starts to show you these things, So
you get a random phone call from someone, or you find a book that you had thought you lost, and there'll be something in it. One of my favorite quotes, actually, maybe my favorite one of all time, is by Gary Zukov and The Seed of the Soul. So I think for anybody who needs or feels a bit stuck or looking for change, that book is mind blowing. I think if I had to pick one book that changed everything, it was that one.
The Seed of the Soul, yeah.
Of the soul. So he says in it, the universe will make you so uncomfortable that you will be forced to action. And I'll never forget it, because the moment I read that, I was like, that's what's happening to me. I am so uncomfortable in my life. I feel angst, and I feel like that gut feeling of sickness is something's not quite right here. That's what that is. I feel uncomfortable in the life that I'm living. And when I realized then that was a thing, I was like, oh my God. So it was like everything opened up then. But since then, everything started to come in. So I'd get opportunities for things, or someone would give me a book maybe that I hadn't asked for, or just loads of weird things kept happening. So I think that was the start of the personal development for me, because I was like, there's this whole other world that I haven't touched on yet. So I wanna jump right in and see what's out there for me.
I can completely relate to what you're saying. See, 4 or 5 years ago, when we first started the business, I was looking for premises. I was looking for a shop in the area that we wanted to open. And I went to view an old Chinese, and my intention was there, like I knew exactly what I wanted to create. And it's funny because we'd parked the car and we were walking up the hill to this Chinese place. And my friend Dawn was with me, and I'd said to Dawn, I was like, see that yellow shop across the road there? That's the shop I want.
Yeah.
Now, Dawn said to me, she was like, Stephen, that shop's open, it's trading, and it was a Polish food shop. And I was like, but I like it. I really want it. I don't know why I want it. So we went to the Chinese shop to look at it. It wasn't right. And then we went along to Greg's to get a takeaway coffee to go back to the car with. And I was standing in the queue in Greg's, and I got a message from a friend that I've not seen for a long time. And she says, hello, stranger, I'm sitting looking at you. And I was like, okay.
This is weird.
She says, you're standing in the queue for Greg's. I was like, yeah, where are you? She says, I'm sitting in the estate agents across the road.
Oh.
That's where I work. And I was like, oh, wow, that's fantastic. She said, what are you doing in Broxburn? And I said, well, I'm looking at shops.
Mm-hmm.
She says, well, we've got shops. We've got commercial properties on our books. Would you like me to send you over what we've got?
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, please do. So I'm standing, and all of this happens within like 3 minutes in the queue in Greg's. And I'm standing, and I got the email, and the first email was only one brochure of one of the shops. Guess what shop it was?
Was it the one that you wanted?
Yeah.
The one that oh my God.
It was the little yellow shop, and I'm like, right, okay, I need to pay attention.
How strange is that?
And I suppose that's something that, you can either pay attention to the signs, or you can walk away from them.
Yeah, because a lot of people won't even recognize them. I think they won't even recognize it enough to say, oh, that's a load of nonsense, because they don't even see it.
Yeah.
So you have to be aware that they're there.
And I think when you are acutely aware, how much does that change your life?
Oh my God, they're everywhere. It actually becomes funny. Me and James were actually talking about it yesterday, because we're getting signs from all over the place all the time, but you have to be tuned into it, obviously.
Yeah. And would you think that is the universe, or would you think that that's just a part of your brain that recognizes what alignment you're on, I suppose?
I don't know if we'll ever really know, but I like to think it's a combination of your inner knowing what's good for yourself and a bit of something that's bigger than us pointing us in the right direction. There has to be a bit of both, doesn't there?
Absolutely.
But I actually love the fact that we don't know, and we'll never know. And the more that science is a wonderful thing, but it's never going to explain everything. And isn't it amazing that there's stuff that it can't explain? I love that too.
Yeah.
Because we live in a world more full of wonder and awe than will ever be able to be explained. Like, why does the sun rise every day? Why are we on the perfect tilt of an axis? All these amazing things that no one can explain. But yet we're here every day, and we get this opportunity to live a life that we love. So we have to try. We kind of owe it to ourselves to live the best that we can.
I absolutely love your answer, Nick. Honestly. I did think for a minute there, I thought, is she going to go down a different road with that? But no, you. And I think that the more people that wake up to that, the better. Mm-hmm. I speak to, I know many doctors, nurses, GPs, and actually nurses, they're probably the most spiritual people on the planet. And they'll say things like, I cannot explain why these things happen.
Yeah, they see it firsthand, don't they?
Yeah, I've spoken to psychologists and many different people from medically trained backgrounds that have this fascination with something that isn't the world that we can see.
Yeah.
I was speaking to a girl the other day there as well, and I was saying, like our hand, if you look at your hand, your hand is just molecules, buzzing around that appears to have form.
Yeah.
There's 7 dimensions around us, and we only see 4, 5, I think.
Yeah, I think it's 4 or 5. Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah, that's crazy. There's this endless world of possibility that people could really tap into, and they're so focused on, right, what's happening tomorrow at work? How many emails do I need to send?
Yeah. And when you step outside that, none of that stuff really matters on the grand scheme. Because now I used to not sleep. I used to get up at 4 a.m. for the flight, and I used to sometimes not sleep thinking about everything. But like, what was I even thinking about? See, now I can't really remember what the problems were, but at the time they were the most important things in the world. And it's funny to look back and think, wow, I spent so much time worrying about all those things that didn't really matter.
I remember really vividly, it was my inbox.
Yeah.
Like waking up every morning to 70 emails and thinking, oh my God, I need to answer every one of these, Crazy times.
It's about perspective, isn't it?
Yeah. And I suppose we're both living examples of people that have really stepped outside our comfort zones and made change that other people would be scared of. And for me, Nick, and I'm going to ask you the same question, but for me, it is the best thing that I have ever done.
Oh my God, by 100 million miles. And that's why now I really want to focus on helping other people make the change in their lives, because it's possible and it's there for everybody. You just sometimes just need a little help along the way. And that's all it is. It's not like I don't do the work for people. They do it themselves, but everybody is capable of it. But imagine everybody took the risk and went out of their comfort zone and tried to achieve their dreams, how different it would be.
Yeah. And how does it make you feel when you see someone transforming before your eyes?
Oh my God. It's like
you see it in your face right now. You're like,
it's a privilege, I think, is the word, because it's a privilege to be part of someone's journey as they're changing. And it's just such an amazing relationship that you form with the people that you're helping to change. And then when they come out, I suppose you're really proud at the end, because you're like, you did that all yourself. I was just there to witness really much. And it's just an amazing thing to be part of. And it's so fulfilling. And that's something I never had before, anything that gave me real purpose or real meaning. So to be a part of it is just, I can't believe this is my job. I feel so lucky, which is just amazing.
It's a common misconception many people have, though. They think that a life coach is there to transform someone's life, when actually life coaches, you're not therapists, you're not counselors. You are there to help facilitate change in someone and for them to see things for themselves, aren't you?
Yeah. It's helping people, I suppose, to live the life that they would love to. What really is going to make them shine. So I suppose it's helping people find their shine again. So it's easy to lose it in the world, in your work, in your family, and I say it quite often, but I say to people, don't get lost in, I'm a wife and a husband and a daughter and a sibling, because you are all those things, but that's not who you really are. You have to dig deeper than that. Who are you at the inner core? And how do you want to change the world? What do you want to do? And you find that they're there sometimes just beneath the surface. They're not even as deep as we would think sometimes, which is quite incredible. Change can happen faster than you think.
Yeah. And my last question for you, because would you believe we're at 10:30?
I would not.
I say this every single day, and I'm always like, why does it go so fast? I suppose it goes fast when you're enjoying your conversation, doesn't it?
That's true.
My last question for you is, if anybody was thinking right now about changing their life, for whatever reason, and they wanted to approach you for coaching, what would they get from working with Nicola?
I suppose the insight. I think because what I'm finding I'm good at is helping people dig into that inner self. I think because I've been there and I've made all the mistakes and gone through it all myself, it's easier to identify it in other people that need the change. And I love doing that. It's my favorite part. And I suppose that shows as well, because that's the part I really love, to help people kind of discover that for themselves. So I suppose a facilitator, a little helping hand, support when it's needed.
It's a massive common theme that we've been speaking about, over the last few months, and that is that the best people to help anyone are the people with lived experience.
Yeah.
It's not the people that have just decided one day, right, I'm going to be a life coach, and then they go and do a course and they're not very helpful because they've not lived through that experience. Whereas for you, Nick, you've had lived experience of all of this stuff. So, of course, you're the best person to help.
Well, I think it definitely gives you an edge because you can see. And I mean, it's not easy to make the change. There was loads of pain and I had to hurt people along the way. But I always had the intention of a greater good. And when you stick to that, you can't really go wrong because the universe will be on your side for that, to achieve that greater good. So I think that's the hard part, when you know that you have to do things that maybe people won't necessarily agree with or like, but it's having that faith in yourself, I suppose, isn't it?
I think you hurt people longer term if you don't actually pay attention anyway, don't you?
Yeah. You just can't let that stop you making the decision.
Yeah. Well, Nicola, thank you so much for today. I've really enjoyed today.
It was fun. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we'll get you back as well if you want to come back.
Yeah, we'll do another topic.
We'll have you back every Wednesday. I was joking last week. I was saying to James, see, just because Nicola's got an Irish accent, we're going to have her every week instead. He was like, all right then. Yeah, definitely get you back, because everybody's really, really enjoyed your surgery this morning. We've had lots of comments saying that they've absolutely loved.
That's lovely.
Love this so much.
Thanks.
Jade's also saying it's defo the universe making it funnier and more enjoyable. Wee signs and secrets, the ones that get you off guard, are the best.
Absolutely.
And Joanne is saying, thank you so much, guys. I have absolutely loved today.
Oh, that's nice.
Amazing. So thank you, Nicola.
You're welcome.
We'll have a wee chat afterwards. And everybody else, I will see you guys tomorrow. And tomorrow we have got John Seary, who is speaking all about the aura again. So if you are interested in all things energy related, I suppose it moves on really nicely from Nicola's conversation today. Jump on tomorrow. And I will see you all later. Bye for now. Be strong.